He has 847 friends on Facebook, 12,000 followers on Instagram. His last post got 340 likes in 2 hours. People comment, "You look amazing," and "goals," and "living your best life." Last night, he sat alone in his apartment and cried and couldn't explain why. This isn't depression. This isn't mental illness. This is the defining epidemic of our era, the paradox that nobody talks about because it doesn't make sense on paper. We are the most connected generation in human history. More ways to communicate than ever before. More platforms, more followers, more likes, more messages, more notifications. And we are the loneliest people who have ever lived. Welcome to Uncensored. Today, we're going to destroy the lie that connection equals community. Let me start with a number. 61%. That's the percentage of Americans who report feeling lonely regularly, not occasionally, regularly. Another number, 36%, report feeling serious loneliness. Loneliness that affects their health, their work, their ability to function. One more. The number of close friends the average American has dropped from 3 in 1985 to less than 2 today. A significant portion of people report having 0 close friends. 0. And during this same period, social media usage has increased by roughly 3,000%. Think about that relationship. As our digital connections exploded, our real connections collapsed. This is not coincidence. This is causation. Your phone didn't just change how you communicate. It fundamentally rewired what you consider connection, what you think friendship means, what you believe intimacy requires. And in doing so, it made you profoundly, devastatingly alone. Let me explain what your brain actually needs. Your brain evolved over millions of years in small tribal communities of roughly 150 people. These were your people. You knew their faces, their voices, their histories, their struggles. They knew yours. When you were hurt, they came. When you succeeded, they celebrated. When you were wrong, they told you. When you were afraid, they stayed. This is what human connection actually is: presence, vulnerability, shared experience, mutual witness. Your brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, through physical proximity, through eye contact, through touch, through being truly seen by another human being. Not through likes, not through comments, not through heart emojis. Your brain cannot distinguish between meaningful connection and digital performance. But your body knows the difference. Your nervous system knows the difference. You can have 10,000 followers, and your nervous system is still starving because it needs something that no algorithm can deliver. It needs presence. Now let me tell you about the machine that's feeding you fake connection. Social media was not designed to make you feel connected. It was designed to make you feel like connection is always one scroll away. That's a crucial difference. Every platform is engineered with one goal: keep you on the platform as long as possible. More time on platform equals more advertising revenue. It's that simple. So they studied human psychology. They found what triggers the human need for connection, and they created a perfect simulation of connection that never actually satisfies it. The like button was specifically designed to trigger dopamine release, a small hit every time someone acknowledges you, just enough to make you want more, never enough to actually satisfy you. The notification system was designed to create variable reward schedules, the same mechanism that makes slot machines addictive. Sometimes you get a like immediately, sometimes you have to wait. The unpredictability is the point. It keeps you checking. The feed algorithm was designed to maximize engagement, which means it prioritizes content that triggers strong emotional responses: outrage, envy, anxiety, fear. End quote. These emotions keep you scrolling longer than happiness does. You're not using social media. Social media is using you. And here's what it does to your ability to form real connections. Every hour you spend on social media is an hour you don't spend developing real relationships. Real relationships require time, patience, effort, vulnerability, risk. Social media requires none of those things. So you get lazy. Real friendship feels too demanding compared to the frictionless pseudo-connection of likes and comments. Why call someone when you can just view their story? Why meet for coffee when you can comment on their post? And gradually, without realizing it, you forget how to do the hard work of real intimacy. You lose the skill. This is the attention economy's cruelest trick. It doesn't just steal your time. It degrades your capacity for the very thing it promises. It sells you fake food while destroying your ability to eat real food. Now, let me talk about something nobody wants to admit: the performance trap. Social media didn't just change how we connect, it changed who we are when we're around other people. Every experience now has a documentary impulse. You go to a concert and half your attention is on capturing it for your story. You eat at a beautiful restaurant and the first instinct is to photograph the food. You travel somewhere stunning and you spend 20 minutes finding the right angle for the shot. You're not experiencing your life. You're curating it. And this extends beyond the photo. It extends to how you present yourself in every interaction. You've been trained by social media to optimize your presentation, to show the highlight reel, to perform a version of yourself that generates positive engagement. But vulnerability requires the opposite of performance. Real connection requires showing the parts that don't get likes: the fear, the doubt, the failure, the ugly cry at 2 a.m., the moments you're not proud of. When you've spent years training yourself to perform, vulnerability becomes almost impossible. You meet someone, they ask how you are. You say fine. You say good. You say busy, but great. You perform the curated version of yourself. And they do the same. And you both go home and sit alone and wonder why you don't feel connected to anyone. Because you just performed at each other. Two curated versions of two real humans who never actually met. This is modern loneliness. Not the absence of people, the presence of performance. Let me tell you about the comparison machine. Before social media, your reference group was the 150 people around you, your neighbors, your co-workers, your family. Now, your reference group is everyone, every highlight reel of every life on Earth. Your friend's vacation in Santorini, someone's engagement announcement, a stranger's perfect body, a person your age who just sold their startup for $20 million. All of it filtered through algorithms, specifically designed to show you the content most likely to provoke a response in you. Often, that response is inadequacy. The psychological research is devastating. People who use social media heavily report higher rates of depression, anxiety, loneliness, and lower self-esteem than those who don't. Not because social media causes mental illness directly, but because constant comparison to curated highlight reels creates a chronic sense of inadequacy. You're always failing to live up to a standard that doesn't exist, because nobody actually lives like their Instagram feed. Not even the people whose Instagram feeds you're comparing yourself to. They're performing too. Everyone is performing. And behind every perfect photo is a real human being who is also lonely, also afraid, also wondering why their life doesn't feel like it looks. But you don't see that. You just see their performance and compare it to your reality. Your reality will always lose that comparison. Now, let me destroy a comfortable lie. Quantity of connection is not the same as quality of connection. You might have 1,000 people who would give your post a like, but how many people would sit with you in the hospital? How many would tell you the truth when you need to hear it, not what you want to hear? How many know your actual fears, your actual failures, your actual self? For most people, that number is heartbreakingly small. For many, it's zero. This is because real friendship is built through shared vulnerability over time, through conflict and repair, through showing up when it's inconvenient, through being known and still being chosen. None of this happens on social media. Social media friendships are frictionless, easy, comfortable, no conflict, no demand, just passive consumption of each other's curated existence. But frictionless relationships don't build intimacy. Intimacy is built in the friction, in the hard conversations, in the showing up even when you don't want to, in being seen at your worst and being loved anyway. Frictionless connection is to real friendship what junk food is to nutrition. It fills you temporarily, it gives you something, but it cannot sustain you, and it crowds out the real thing. You're full of empty calories and starving of actual nourishment. Now I need to talk about men specifically, because the male loneliness epidemic is reaching crisis levels, and almost nobody is talking about it. Studies show that men are significantly lonelier than women. Men are less likely to have close friends, less likely to seek social connection, less likely to admit loneliness, less likely to seek help. The average man hasn't made a new friend since his late 20s. His social life is almost entirely mediated through his partner or family. If that relationship ends, his social network often collapses entirely. Many men report that their only real emotional support is their romantic partner, which puts catastrophic pressure on that relationship, and which means that divorce or breakup doesn't just end a relationship, it ends their entire social world. This is partly cultural. Men are taught that needing connection is weakness, that friendship is something for women and children, that the self-sufficient lone wolf is the masculine ideal. This is killing them. Literally, loneliness has the same health impact as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It's more dangerous to your health than obesity. It increases mortality risk by 26%. The epidemic of male loneliness isn't just a mental health crisis. It's a physical health crisis. Men are dying from isolation. And social media, which could theoretically help, often makes it worse, because it provides the illusion of connection without the vulnerability required for real connection. And it gives men a way to feel like they have a social life without actually having one. Now let me talk about the thing that makes this all so insidious. We've pathologized solitude while normalizing isolation. Solitude and loneliness are not the same thing. Solitude is chosen aloneness, rich, regenerative, creative, the space where you develop your inner life, where you process experience, where you meet yourself. Loneliness is the painful absence of meaningful connection, the sense that you are unseen, unknown, unchosen. Solitude is a gift. Loneliness is a wound. But here's the irony. Social media has stolen our ability to be alone without being lonely. Being alone now means being on your phone, scrolling, consuming, performing, comparing, never actually sitting with yourself, never actually developing the inner life that makes you worth connecting with. You've forgotten how to be with yourself. So you fill every moment of aloneness with digital stimulation, which means you never experience real solitude, but you still experience profound loneliness. Because the ache of loneliness doesn't come from being physically alone. It comes from being disconnected from yourself and from others. And you can be connected to 1,000 people digitally while being completely disconnected from yourself. This is the deepest form of loneliness. And it's the most common form in the digital age. You are lonely in a crowd, lonely with your phone in your hand, lonely while performing connection to thousands of followers, lonely inside the machine that was supposed to make you feel connected. Now let me tell you what actually creates connection. Because it's not what you think. It's not shared interests. It's not proximity. It's not even shared history. It's vulnerability, the willingness to be seen as you actually are. to say the true thing, to admit the real feeling, to show the actual fear. Research by Brené Brown and others confirms this. Vulnerability is the birthplace of connection, not strength, not achievement, not the curated version of yourself. The real, imperfect, struggling, doubting, hoping, fearing real you. Every real relationship you have was built through a moment of vulnerability, a moment where you showed something real and were still accepted. But vulnerability requires risk. The risk of rejection, the risk of judgment, the risk of being seen and found lacking. Social media has trained you to minimize that risk, to only show what's safe, what generates approval, what gets likes. His Matt. And in doing so, it's made you emotionally avoidant, conflict avoidant, vulnerability avoidant. You've optimized for approval. But approval and love are not the same thing. Approval is conditional. It requires performance. It requires you to maintain the curated version of yourself. Love is unconditional. It requires authenticity. It requires you to be exactly who you are. You cannot be loved if you cannot be seen. And you cannot be seen if you're always performing. Let me tell you what connection actually requires and why it's harder than it's ever been. Time. Real connection requires substantial, unstructured time spent with another person. Not lunch for exactly 45 minutes. Not coffee squeezed between two meetings. Time where there is nowhere else to be. But your time is increasingly colonized by work, commutes, screens, obligations, optimized schedules. You are productive with every minute. And real connection is profoundly unproductive. It cannot be scheduled. It cannot be optimized. It happens in the margins, and you've eliminated the margins. Presence. Real connection requires being fully present with another person, not 70% present, while 30% checks notifications. Fully present. But you've developed an attention system that cannot sustain presence. The average person checks their phone 6 times per day, every 10 minutes. You are never fully anywhere. You are always partially somewhere else. You cannot connect with someone you're not fully present with, and you are never fully present. Vulnerability, as we discussed, the willingness to show your real self. But you've spent years training yourself to perform. Real vulnerability now feels terrifying. Consistency. Real friendship is built through showing up consistently over time, through small gestures repeated, through remembering, through choosing someone again and again. But you've been conditioned to seek novelty, to keep scrolling, to keep optimizing. Staying with someone, investing in depth over breadth feels like settling. You've been optimized for the swipe, not for the stay. So here you are, surrounded by connection and starving for it, performing intimacy in front of thousands and known by no one, optimized for everything except the thing that would actually make your life worth living. What do? You have to choose inconvenience. Real connection is inconvenient. It requires showing up when you don't feel like it, sitting with someone's pain even when you don't know what to say, having the difficult conversation instead of the easy scroll, being present even when your phone is calling you. You have to choose depth over breadth. You don't need 500 followers. You need 5 people who know the real you. 5 people you can call at 3 a.m. 5 people who would sit with you in a hospital waiting room. 5 people who know your fears, your failures, your full story. Invest in those 5. Let the 500 be what they are. You have to choose vulnerability over performance. The next time someone asks how you are, try telling the truth, not the whole truth to a stranger, but more truth, more real. See what happens. Most people are so hungry for authenticity that they will lean in. They will meet your vulnerability with their own, because everyone is performing, and everyone is exhausted by the performance. You have to learn to be alone. Real solitude, without your phone, without stimulation, just you and your thoughts. This is where you develop the inner life that makes you worth knowing, where you process your experience, where you discover who you actually are. If you can't be alone with yourself, you can't really be with anyone else. You'll always be using them to escape yourself. You have to choose presence. Leave your phone in another room. Look at the person across from you. Actually see them, not as a character in your story, not as someone to perform for, as a full human being with their own inner world as rich and complex as yours. That's where connection lives. In the moment of actually seeing and being seen, not in the like, not in the comment, not in the follow, in the moment where two real humans stop performing and actually meet. So here's the final truth. The loneliness epidemic isn't going to be solved by better social media. It isn't going to be solved by more platforms, more features, more ways to perform connection. It's going to be solved by you, individually, choosing the inconvenient, vulnerable, messy, slow, real work of actually connecting with actual people. You have two choices. You can keep performing, keep scrolling, keep collecting followers, keep comparing your reality to everyone's highlight reel. Keep filling the void with digital stimulation and calling it connection. Keep being alone in the most connected era in human history. Or you can put down the phone, look up, see the people around you, take the risk, say the true thing, be the real version of yourself. Unquote. Be known, because here's what your 10,000 followers can't give you, what your 847 friends on Facebook can never provide, what no algorithm can replicate. The experience of being fully known and fully loved anyway. That's what you're looking for. That's what's missing. That's what no app will ever give you. It's available. It's possible. But it requires you to log off from the performance and log into your actual life. Choose. This was uncensored. If this made you look at your phone differently, good. Because the machine in your pocket is not connecting you to the world. It's separating you from it. Subscribe for more truths that will cost you your comfortable delusions. Next time, why you procrastinate and what it says about your relationship with yourself. The answer will change how you see everything you avoid.